Hello, welcome to a video where I'm going to showcase some Victreebel action. Last week I made a graph, I made a video about all the kinds of stats about Victreebel, what it does, and etc, etc. And this time I want to showcase you how a Victreebel, a regular Victreebel with Magical Leaf works in the competitive scene. These battles are from a practice tournament that I hosted in my server. I usually host like 3 or 4 tournaments a week or so, and everyone's free to join. I try to host them on different times, so it's convenient for multiple time zones wherever you are. And usually there's like, I would say it average around 40 to 50 people playing at a time. So yeah, I post like weekly graphs of these tournaments or the tournaments played in a week with the stats of the meta, with winning teams, and there's also a QR code that will lead you to the server if you want to join. Everyone's free to join. Just make sure you read the rules, because sometimes people don't, and it becomes a little bit messy. So yeah, looking at the graph that I posted last week that I made a video about, I am running a Victreebel that is well, approved by myself. I have a Victreebel that has 7 attack, 15 defense, and 4 HP, which means that it will reach some important bulk and break points. A couple that we will see in this video as well. And one of them is Licky Tongue, and we're also going to slice up an Umbreon. Yeah, again, if you want to see more information about those break and bulk points on why and what stats I recommend on Victreebel, make sure to check out the video. So here's the team that I brought. I paired Victreebel with Bastiodon, Azumarill, and Dugong mainly. The reason why Azumarill and Dugong, I think Lantern actually pairs a little bit better because it counters flyers very well, and like Azumarill, Dugong don't really counter like Skarmory really. However, they counter dragons better. That's actually what I feared a lot as well with Victreebel. Then I paired with Bastiodon, Victreebel, and Bastiodon is just such a good core, almost unbreakable. So kind of had to do that one if I were to bring Victreebel. And honestly, Bastiodon is just quite good in the meta. Like, there's usually 1 or 2 hard answers. Then I have Sableye as a neutral pick in between, really, and to counter Cresselia, because Cresselia is quite good, especially with Future Sight, into my double water plus Victreebel, and then also Annihilate. I have Nightless Close Combat. Don't ask me why I have Close Combat here. Shadow Ball is the way in this team. I do think there's merit for Close Combat, but you will find that it was, like, redundant, useless on my team. There was a purpose for it. I just entirely forgot what it was. Maybe it was on the previous team that I needed it. But yeah, I wish I had Shadow Ball, because not running Shadow Ball means that my Annihilate is weak to other Annihilate. So, kind of mistake. The purpose of the team really, though, is to make the opponent want to bring Lantern, and then Victreebel can shine. Hopefully, Bastiodon and Dugong can scare the flyers away, and Azumarill helps pressuring the dragons. My first opponent is Beelzeboy, a really good player from India. And the first thing that I notice here is that my Bastiodon is super good against him. So that makes me think, okay, he has to counter the Bastiodon quite well. Some of the Pokemon that fare okay against it are Dragonair and Umbreon. Vigoroth and Lantern are obviously the prime answers, but Vigoroth and Lantern both are not really great against my Victreebel. So I see a lot of play for Victreebel. Let's see if I can make it work. I lead my Bastiodon into his Shadow Dragonair. I believe this was the second game, or the first game, I don't remember. But these are the 3 Pokemon that I basically ran in any order here. The Dragonair, again, is actually kind of soft here. And I'm actually surprised he throws on Charge Attack Priority here. Doesn't really matter, though. He has 2 attacks here, but this Stone Edge has to be shielded. This matchup is not as bad for Dragonair when shields are in play. I'm not sure if you win the 2 shields, but you can definitely win the 1 shields, I believe, because I won't get to another Stone Edge here. He already has another Aqua Tail at this point, so no point in shooting there. Gonna put it all on the Victreebel, unless he has Skeledirge in the back, which he did bring in the final game, I remember. Not this one. Unless he has Skeledirge in the back, the Victreebel is going to pop off here. That's a Moonblast Cresselia as well, so it doesn't really have charge attacks to pressure me. In the back is Lantern and Umbreon. Going to swap into my Victreebel here. And my Victreebel is very good. It has the breakpoint, and that means that I win the 1 shield so cleanly here. The magical leaves are adding up. Foul plays don't really. Yeah, I'm just going to shield both of these. I think these do. Maybe a Thunderbolt might do more damage. I'm just going to keep this Victreebel very healthy. Why not? As you can see here, Magical Leaves did so much damage that this Leaf Blade is actually going to knock out at this point. Yeah, this Umbreon barely won't get to another attack. I am almost at 2 more Leaf Blades here. In comes the first one of the 2. And then I think I need 1 more for another one. This will do a lot of damage. Even though this Victreebel is not Shadow, it's still fragile like a Galvantula. It just has so much attack. I swap in my Annihilate and seal the deal with this Night Slash here. So I won this matchup by 2-1. My next opponent is Rockhaven, a very good player who has top cut in, I believe, 2 regionals before. This is a pretty standard meta team. One thing that I'm wary of is that my Bastiodon should not be on the Wish Cache. Pretty obvious. And his charge box is actually quite troublesome for 4 out of 6 of my Pokemon. Bastiodon obviously good. Sableye quite neutral. I would call it a decent matchup. But because I don't have Shadow Ball, my Annihilape is quite terrible there. So yeah, he's actually just very smart. You'll see what he does. Actually, that's not in this matchup, but I'll tell you after. I lead my Victreebel into the Lickitung here. I win the 0 and the 1 shoots here. I have a bulk point on the Victreebel, and that allows me to win the 1 shoots here. So, can take the Body Slam, won't do too much damage. I do believe I lose the 2 shields though, because at some point the Licks are just going to take me out. I'm gonna go for another Leaf Blade. I barely outpace the Lickitung. I am very much afraid of a Wish Cache in the back though. That's probably why he stays in. And he probably wants to cover Bastiodon quite well in the back. I realize if I go shields down here and or if I use another shield there, I don't go for switch advantage here. I know it's going to be some counts in the back. Here comes the Wish Cache. I bring in the Sableye immediately here. What I'm afraid of is Annihilape. It could very well be Annihilape in the back. Unfortunately, he gets the Scald debuff on the first Scald, which puts me in a rough spot. I'm going to go for the foul play here. It might threaten him to shield it because it could be a return, which may almost knock him out here. If he gets another debuff here, my next return might not knock out, which is terrible. And it does debuff. Because if it is Annihilape in the back, I need this to knock out, and then I think I would actually still be okay. But yeah, he does debuff me. He gets to another Scald, which I will barely live, but my Sableye will just be too weak. I'm not sure if that would win me the battle. As you can see, the Lickitung is going to get to a power-up on my Bastiodon. I'm very surprised he's thrown this. This gives me hope that there is a Charger Bug in the back, but I wouldn't expect it to go in Wish Cache then. And he swaps into the Gligar here. So he swapped in his hard answer into Bastiodon earlier, which is really smart because it forced me to switch out. Plus, he had an energy advantage on his Wish Cache. Very smart play. In one of the previous matches that we played, he had, I believe, Wish Cache, Lickitung, Charger Bug, in which he basically read that my only good answer to Lickitung, really, or that can keep switch advantage reliably, is Bastiodon. So he baited out my Bastiodon with his Lickitung, and then he swept me with the Charger Bug. That was in game 1 when I had my Victreebel into his Wish Cache lead. So I lost 3-0 here. Sorry, 0-3. I'm not even mad, he just played so well. So, yeah. I mean, it was a good showcase of Victreebel where it was still possible. Because in the next few matches, actually, that will be after the round after this, it will be very tough to use Victreebel. Alright, next matchup. Again, this just makes me feel like Bastiodon is just so good. There's usually only one real hard answer. I don't consider Lantern to be a very hard answer. The 0 shields are actually pretty close. So that means that I like Bastiodon in 5 out of 6 matchups here. And because Bastiodon threats the Flyers so much, it might actually be very safe to bring the Victreebel. Victreebel wins 4 out of 6 here. Except Lickitung, the 2-shoot maybe. But this is going to be a very fun matchup. Let's see. I lead my Victreebel into Annihilape. This is quite an interesting matchup. If you have a high defense Victreebel, you should win the even shields here. Maybe not the 0 shields. My opponent ends up shielding here anyway. Obviously, Leaf Blade will do a lot, but my opponent, she actually lets me sneak. So now I definitely will be in a very good spot here. Gonna go for another Leaf Blade. My opponent's already so low. This could only really go wrong if he got the boost, which he actually did in the first battle, where he didn't let me sneak 2 Magical Leaves. But then he did get the boost and it just got really close. Brings in the Lickitung. Gonna farm to another Leaf Blade, then bring the Bastiodon. Bastiodon is just avoiding the Annihilape now, and it's just very safe here. In game number 1, my opponent brought Annihilape, Talonflame, and Mandibuzz. Bastiodon in the back cleaned up very nicely. They stayed into my Victreebel lead, so this time they play something else. Power Whip doesn't do as much on Bastiodon. You can just basically throw a Stone Edge farm down here. This is such a good matchup for Bastiodon. Like, the licks look as if they're like resisted or double resisted. So yeah, Power Whip coming through, and then I should be able to farm down. I'm actually going to, let's see what comes in. In comes the Lantern. This is actually a misplay on my side. I should throw Stone Edge because then a Smackdown should almost take him out. Stays in for a little bit. The Magical Leaves add up so much. This Lantern is just borderline unviable at this point. Not a clean play on my side though. Because that Annihilape is still alive, which is kind of rough. But I make a pretty good play here. Gonna swap in Basti. Blind throw the Flamethrower, which would have knocked out the Lantern as well. Flamethrower comes in on Annihilape. He only gets 1 counter in. And I will be able to get to another attack before the Lantern can spark me down. So Bastiodon and Victreebel making an incredible core here. Both taking out 3 Pokemon of my opponent. I won this matchup by 3-0. My next opponent is Pman. Arguably one of, if not the best players in the world. And this is where it's going to get tough, because my next opponents all have Alolan Sensors. There were 3 Alolan Sensors in the tournament. I faced all of them. Then they have paired it with flying types as well. I must say, though, that my Victreebel is playing against Annihilate, Lickitung, and Lantern, so it's not, like, absolutely unplayable, but man, Sandslash is strong against my team. It's a Shadow Claw on Sandslash, so it's pretty good against my Dugong and Azumarill as well. I kind of always have to bring the Annihilate. Good thing I know Pman a little bit, so I know how he plays, and let's see. Victreebel into Lickitung. It's honestly crazy that I'm bringing Victreebel, but you know, I just want to make videos about it so badly that I went for it anyway. Gonna go for the Leaf Blade right away. I don't expect him to catch on Altaria or Alolan Sandslash, because if he would have those in the back, because like my Bastiodon would be so punishing. I didn't bring Bastiodon in this game though, so I'm just gonna go with double Ghost in the back. I think Sableye is just extremely safe against his team, and especially when Lickitung is in the lead. I win the 0 shields pretty nicely again. However, his Alolan Sensor gets an annoying farm. I don't get to a Leaf Blade there, but now I can align my Annihilate here, and I predict the Lantern in the back. This is usually what this is how I read Pataman's strategy here, that he leads Lickitung and then has a score in the back, which is a good strategy, but because it keeps his... If he leads into Victreebel, he can let Lickitung go and Lantern is free. If he leads into Annihilate, he can let Lickitung go and his Alolan Sensors is free. So, yeah. If I lead into a Gligar or Altaria here, it's kind of over. Like, I don't come back from that, but I guess I just called him on it. This was kind of a wicked series here. Gonna go for a shield here. I need to get this a little bit lower. He does go for the farm down. I'm totally fine with that. Lantern does win a 2 shield here. That is fine. And then I'm going to go into the Annihilate. But yeah. He comes back in with Alolan Sensors, but realizes he cannot get to another attack, even though he has super effective Shadow Claw. And then I counter everything down. That is a good game. In game 2, I won because of a damage registration error where I got to Leaf Blade on 1 HP on the Alolan Sensors, which I should not have gotten, but I did anyway. And then game 3 was just a shit show where he played hard ABA to Dugong, and I say switch Bastiodon, and he had Annihilate in the back. So yeah, I won 2-1 here. My next matchup is against Jox, who also helps me host tournaments often in my server, and he also streams on Twitch if you want to follow him there. A pretty good battler from Portugal, and he also has that freaking Alolan Sandslash. I actually really like my Victreebel here. Azumarill, Whiscash, Cresselia, that's Future Sight, but it's somewhat playable, and Clodsire are all fine matchup for Victreebel. It's just that Alolan Sandslash and Annihilate is borderline impossible to bring here. I don't expect Cresselia right away, because he probably realizes as well that my Sableye is one of my best picks. But since I don't have Shadow Ball, my Annihilate cannot even fight back against Azumarill or Cresselia, and that means that he has Mandibuzz, Azumarill, Clodsire, and Cresselia to counter my Annihilate. So it's just a big threat. It makes his Alolan Sensor so free into my team. Let's see how I'm going to deal with this. I lead Sableye into Clodsire. This is fine, and I have my core in the back, which is great. But the thing is, Clodsire is not going to use shields here. I don't want to stay into this matchup. I want to bait out the Alolan Sensors in the back. So I'm going to let this Earthquake through, then go into Dugong. I realize here, okay, if it's like Azumarill and Alolan Sensors in the back, I want him to bring in... I actually was considering shielding at first, but I think I want to bring in the Azumarill here. That's why no shield. That's what I realized there as well. Because my idea was to get a lot of farm down on the Victreebel here. He's running Play Rough and Hydro Pump on the Azumarill, so I can just cleanly farm him down, even though Hydro Pump will still do a ton of damage there. Maybe I shouldn't even gone for an Icy Wind here, because I believe now he can bubble me down, which is not great. I would have really loved to keep an attack there, if possible, because the timers were misaligned pretty much. Gonna go for the entire farm down here. I still think it's Alolan Sensors in the back at this point. Going to farm down entirely, but it's Mandibuzz. So he basically triple counted my Annihilate, hoping that I would bring it to counter his Alolan Sensors. Didn't even bring it. Yeah, this is just kind of impossible to overcome, because he still has like half HP Clodsire as well. He brought like 3 Omega bulky Pokemon. Went quite weak to Dugong, but Clodsire and the 0 shields is quite fine. It's a pretty good strategy from him. Like, if you lead into Dugong or Azumarill, you just let one of them go against Clodsire and then hope to sweep with the other one. Though, I must say, Azumarill and Dugong together is not bad for me, so kind of risky for him, but also maybe he didn't think I would do it because it would be very weak to his Cresselia, which I never really expected to come out. Fun fact though, I managed to win game number 2 after losing this one. I just want to show you here that, you know, how much Sludge Bomb would do on that Mandibuzz. It didn't even get to it, to be honest. Whatever. Leaf Blade doesn't do enough on Clodsire. I don't have enough energy, and I lose. But what I want to say is game 2, I managed to barely win it back. And game 3, he actually did bring Cresselia, and I went 3 times weak to Cresselia. I let Azumarill to Mandibus. He say switch alone sense just crazy, but I cannot bring the Annihilate. And then shields were down. I wanted Dugong on his Mandibus, and then 2 shield Cresselia in the back just cleaned up my Victreebel and my Dugong. So yeah, my final matchup is against Luyoslav. Sorry if I butchered that name up. He also has triple flyer, alone sense. My Victreebel has 2 answers here. You know what I'm gonna do? Run Victreebel. It's for the video, man. So this is gonna be very rough. He has Power Snow alone sense, which makes my Azumarill and Dugong considerably better, but it's paired with Lantern. Now the purpose of my team is to make that Lantern very attractive to bring, but not with an alone sense slash. It's too much of a core breaker. I don't have Wish Cash to core break that. Gonna lead Sableye into Gligar. This is a very fine lead, but I realize, man, this might not be great in the back. I'm actually gonna make a huge misplay soon. Something I should not have done. Something I always have in the back of my head. Sometimes I follow up with it and do very well when I do so. That is, my dear viewers, do not always give up Switch in Open Great League. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. Because if I let this go, if I let the Sableye go, I bring Dugong into the Gligar. I either come out with a ton of energy for whatever he has in the back. I could get to 2-0 if I wanted to on the Lantern. And if he hard swaps Lantern into the Dugong, I would have aligned my Victreebel onto it. Now, I gave him the chance to bring Lantern into my Dugong. I don't have alignment at all. It's probably alone senses in the back. I'm going to let it go. And it is. I'm hoping this does like half HP, that he has to shield something, then I can foul play. But it doesn't do enough. This is where Victreebel did not shine. My opponent had the Lantern sandwich between 2 Victreebel counters, and I just couldn't get switch advantage anytime. So yeah, just really a rookie mistake. Sometimes you should not give up switch. Sometimes you just take the shield advantage. Or go for switch advantage if you can. But this was a matchup where I'm like, you know, Dugong with energy is just good against about anything. Even Annihilate would not be the worst. So yeah. Rookie mistake, it is what it is. And I actually lost 0-3 here as well. I think my Victreebel was on like a Altaria or a Lone Sensors every single time. It's for the content. So yeah, hopefully that showed you how good or bad Victreebel is. I must say though, it's a little bit tainted because I faced Alone Sensors double or triple flyer in the last 3 matchups. I feel like Victreebel is actually much stronger than it looks like. It does a couple things better than Venusaur, which I think really helps, such as Annihilate. So, yeah, you know, if you don't have a Venusaur, Victreebel seems like a perfect alternative to me. Winning Lickitung, just like Venusaur does in Zero Shields, is pretty good. And that's just one of many matchups. So, hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.